Hey, good morning. Oh my God. I don't know if I can do a whole show with this echo. Echo. Ooh, the optics in this room are terrible. This is going to drive me nuts. How does it sound on your end? By the way, I'm 10 minutes early. How about that? How often am I 10 minutes early? So yeah, this is like the final episode in this room. It's the end of an era. Box 13 is back there. Where's he at? Box 13 is back there. Empty shelf over here. It was kind of muffling the sound in this room. I'm surprised it sounds like this because I didn't take too much out of this room. Because the boxes that were behind me are still behind me, just further back. There were a few boxes that I took out, but man, I guess there was enough. That shelf was probably closer to the wall, just keeping the sound in place. I don't know, but I'm getting used to it. We're 70 seconds in. I think I'm okay. So yeah, I wanted to come on early today. I almost thought about skipping today's episode because the movers are coming at like 8, and usually 8 means 7:45, as I've learned over the last few days. So I didn't want to be like, oh, doorbell, which has happened twice now. So I didn't want to get that surprise. So, but I thought I can't just all of a sudden pop up at the new house. Although, wouldn't that be a surprise? Hey, taking today off, and then boom, tomorrow morning we're in a whole new house. So, but I wanted to come on. I think we need to give it its proper farewell. We need to give the old card room its proper farewell. So I don't have much to talk about other than the move. I haven't really had anything else on my mind. I've got a wedding in 6 days to 5 days, I think. Saturday. How many ever days that is. The MLB draft is like my favorite day. No, it's not. It's one of my favorite days, though. And I love just going back through history and dropping little draft nuggets on Twitter. I did a couple things yesterday, but it just wasn't. I was so preoccupied with other things that I didn't really do much. And I didn't have. I had it on in the background. I think I missed the first 2 picks, but I caught the Cubs pick, Matt Shaw. I love the draft, but the thing is about the draft, it's such a crapshoot. It's not like the NFL draft or the NBA draft where a top 10 pick is going to be likely at least a serviceable professional athlete, professional player in their respective sport. Not with baseball. You could have a number 1 overall pick and they could flop. You could have a 68th round pick make the Hall of Fame, Mike Piazza. Now, it's rare, but it could happen. So the MLB draft, it's such a crapshoot. Yeah. Did I make new coffee this morning, or is this old coffee? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I made coffee this morning. The reason I wonder is because I was down here getting the stream. I as I was getting ready, setting the stream up. This is disgusting. So if you've ever seen, every once in a while, I'll like just take a picture of the computer screen down here and share it. So, and I didn't even do a good job of cleaning the screen. That was my computer screen. That's how dirty my computer screen was. Isn't that filthy disgusting? Ugh. So, so yeah, I cleaned it. It's like, wow, I can see again. I can see again. So, where was I at? The draft, it's such a crapshoot. I went back. The Cubs had the 13th pick. They took Matt Shaw, kid out of Maryland. I was joking around in our Cubs Twitter chat. It's like, oh, great pick. It's like, yeah, you don't know. What do I know? I love the draft. I've been following the Major League Baseball draft back, and I've talked about this before. I would listen to it on the old MLB.com back in like 2002 when it was just an audio stream of each person announcing the call. The Tigers are up. They select ID 7149832, John Johnson, Arkansas shortstop. So it's come a long way now. Primetime ESPN. I'm glad I was on ESPN last night. I'm like, I have to work downstairs. Like I was working in the rec room, getting the rec room picked up and organized. And I'm like, I'll have the draft on. I'm like, shit, I don't have the MLB network, but it's on ESPN now. How times have come. And I love that the draft is now during All-Star week. That makes it a lot more fun. I wish, and with all the renovations that they've done at Wrigley Field, I really think and hope that the All-Star game returns to Wrigley Field here in the next couple years. I think through 2025, and usually they do 3 years out. And so around the All-Star game, they should be announcing like where the next, like where the 2026 All-Star game is, or 2025, how many ever years out it is. I think they make the announcement during All-Star week of the next place. Really hoping Wrigley gets it because they've done so much. Haven't had an All-Star game in Chicago at Wrigley since 1990 or 91. So I think that would be awesome. And I'm there. I'd go down for the draft. It would be like a mini spring training, be like a summer training for me, because I'd go down for the draft, home run derby, all that fun stuff. It'd be so awesome to have the All-Star week in Chicago on the north side. So I love the draft. But I was talking in this group chat about, it's like, even as much of a draft nerd as I have been over the past 20 years, I still get it wrong like every year. In that first draft that I started really paying close attention to, Bobby Brownlee was like going into the 2002 college season. He went to Rutgers. He was like the guy. And that's what's crazy about, sometimes you see in football, football is usually the more so than basketball, usually a year out, who the number one pick's going to be. Usually. Football is more of a crapshoot. Baseball draft day, and it's like, who knows? Unless there's a Bryce Harper on the board. But in 2002, going into the college season, Bobby Brownlee was like the guy. He's like, can't miss number one overall pick, but he got hurt. He had I don't think it was Tommy John. I think it was his shoulder. I think he had something going on with his shoulder. So I guess his medicals, I don't know if they were clearing, but he fell in the draft. And I'm like, oh my, and the Cubs had like where'd they get him? Like 21. And I'm like, oh my God, if the Cubs can get Bobby Brownlee, that would be awesome. And they did. And I think he petered out in Double-A. He even got his own bobblehead. He was a big time get. And I think he only made it to Double-A. Bobby Brownlee. So I was high on Bobby Brownlee. Of course, I loved Ty Griffin back in 88, 89. Who else did I like? In the 2000, was it 2000? Who was 2013? 2013 was Chris Bryant, and I really wanted the Cubs to get John Gray. I hated the Kyle Schwarber pick. Those are the four that come to mind. Like, I loved Bobby Brownlee and Ty Griffin. I hated Kyle Schwarber. I didn't hate the Chris Bryant. I hated the Kyle Schwarber pick. I did. I'll admit it. Now in hindsight, it's like, oh my God, I wish he was still in Chicago. But I disliked. I don't even know if I disliked the Chris Bryant pick. I preferred John Gray to Chris Bryant, and a lot of people did. Like, Chris Bryant was not. Hindsight's always 20/20, and I think a lot of, especially Cubs fans, misremember that 2013 draft. Nobody was paying. Most Cubs fans were not paying attention to the 2013 baseball draft. So the draft was on last night. Enjoyed it. Cubs got a second pick for losing Wilson Contreras. That was a nice little get. So yeah, speaking of TVs, we went and bought our TVs yesterday for the new house, a couple of them. One for our living room upstairs and one for my rec room. So we went to Costco and I wanted a freaking giant TV. I want a giant TV. I got a giant TV. 86 inches of TV. So we borrowed. There's another realtor in my wife's office, and he, great marketer. So he bought like a U-Haul truck, and he had it wrapped with his own, Aaron Weber Group. Buy from us and use this truck for free. Genius. So his clients get to use the truck. Also, the other realtors in the office get to use the truck. So we've used it like 10 times. And I told so we went and picked it up, and we're in Costco, and I'm like, can you imagine? We're getting out, and I'm like, can you imagine driving one of these things across country, like a U-Haul? Like I had to drive my U-Haul when I moved to Wisconsin from Macomb all the way up to Madison, which is in a U-Haul about a 4-hour drive with my SUV on a little trailer behind. I'm like, I just remember how terrible that ride was. Just the ride from the office to Costco was bad enough. So my wife's like, I just can't believe I'm taking this damn truck to Costco, giving him all of this marketing awareness. So it's parked out front to load the TVs in. So I take a picture and I'm like, can I post this? Can I post this? My wife's like, if you will, I will kill you. Like, come on, it's funny. It's funny. So I did not post it. So we take the TVs to the new house, and the first one goes, and it's like, it's freaking gigantic. And my mother-in-law looks at it and she goes, "That's the biggest thing I've ever seen." That is something you don't want to hear from your mother-in-law. So I'm like, yep, and I'm proud of it. So we got our TVs. I think they're getting hung today, so that's good. I'm hoping my because I'll have a TV in my office also, so I'm hoping my rec room TV will go in there. Hopefully that'll get moved and hung today as well. Let's go to the chat. Ed's here. What's up, Ed? Todd, good morning. Victor's in the house. Herman is here. Tiger727, good morning to you. The new room will be different. Not sure what Detroit is doing drafting high school players. The last 10-year rebuild is apparently another 5 years. And that's the curious thing about the draft is, especially if you're drafting a high school kid, they're years out. And if you're going through a rebuild, it's like, what's your timing? In baseball, it's not always best available, because sometimes if you're a small market team, say you're like Kansas City or Oakland, you're not going to draft a guy that you're going to have to spend a lot of money, because you don't do that. That's not what those teams do. So there's like financial strategy involved as well. Take, for example, going back to my Cubs nerddom, 2001, Cubs had the number 2 overall pick. Minnesota Twins had the number 1 overall pick. Now, obviously, clearly, Mark Prior at the time was the clear number 1 overall pick. But he was going to get too much money. And Minnesota, being a small market team, was not going to pay Mark Prior money. So they drafted Joe Mauer. Hey, that's a pretty good consolation prize. Ended up having a much better career than Mark Prior, but Mark Prior had a lot of injuries and was still like, had he not gone through, hindsight's 2020 and what if, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? But that's the interesting thing about the draft. So if you are going through like a rebuild, I used to like the Cubs drafting high school players because usually the high school players are like the flashy names, and it's just kind of like in prospecting with baseball cards. Like we always want the shiny hot prospect. And usually it's high school players because the college guys, they probably weren't flat. Many of them went to college because they weren't flashy enough to get that first round money, right? But the Cubs have had a lot of success here recently drafting college players, college bats. They've really hit Kyle Schwarber, Nico Hoerner, Ian Happ. Like the Cubs have hit on their first round college bats. So they took another one last night. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But yeah, the process from the guy the Cubs drafted last night. I'm continuing to use this example because I didn't really watch much of the draft, but I know who the Cubs picked. So Matt Shaw out of Maryland, infielder. He's like 21 years old. I mean, that's like old in prospect. Like you look back and it's like Juan Soto, 19 years old, making his debut with the Washington Nationals. And it's like, yeah, 21-year-old in Bowman. He's 21. He's old. Put him out to pasture. He's old. JW, good morning. Nice win for the Cubs. Yeah, nice comeback win over the Yankees. Took the series in New York. Love it. Nico Hoerner needs to be in the All-Star game lineup. I agree. Considering 2 of the 3 selected Cubs are not going to be there. Yeah, Dansby is not going to be there. And who's the other one? But yeah, I think Nico deserves it. Zach and Porter says, congrats on this season coming to an end. It will be nice when this element of stress is removed and Hobby Evolution morphs back to its previous form from its new locale. It will be nice. It will be nice. I know everybody's probably sick of me bitching about this move, but it's like it's consuming my entire existence right now. Like I shave. Like I forget to shave because I have to shave I have to be somewhat clean shaven for next weekend. I've got to get a haircut. My freaking hair is super long for me. I've got to get it. It's like, when am I going to get a haircut? I got to mow the lawn. I got to get a haircut and give the lawn a haircut. And it's like, I'm way behind on shit. Like this damn move is taking over my entire existence. Can't wait. Moving sucks, man. And like, I cannot imagine going through this, having to do moving ourselves. Like, I mean, it's unthinkable moving 3 million baseball cards. I'm packing like a quarter of this room and it's over. Like last night, I'm like picking up the rec room and just putting things in. It's like, this is overwhelming. And I'm doing like a very tiny sliver of like the overall work. Moving on. Let's see. Tiger727 says, yes, it was highlight of the 2023 season for Detroit, the no-hitter. I have to pick up a Tops Now card before I forget. Paul Heath in the house. Paul Carl is here. What's up? Speaking of Wrigley, we're going to the Cubs game on Sunday. Should be a fun day for the family. Nice. I freaking love Wrigley. It's my Disney World. Love Wrigleyville. Chris Johnson, what's up? Anyone here have a boost in sales when switching to dynamic ad rate in their eBay store, or have you seen sales slow down? I've been dynamic for a few weeks and have seen sales slow down. So what did my curiosity? What did you switch from? My thought is, if you were say at 10% and you switched to dynamic, you may see sales slow down because dynamic is going to fluctuate. But if you were at like 2% and went dynamic up to 10, or I guess I'd have to know what your percentage was before the switch, what your dynamic is set to. Greg Atchison, good morning. Brian Dean in the house. Card Farmer is here. Boom Slang is here. We drove a U-Haul from Las Vegas all the way to Eastern PA. Oh my God. Oh my God. That sounds awful. Absolutely awful. The Minneapolis kid says, my buddy went to Madison and I helped him move like 4 to 5 times, and there was some bridge near the stadium, and every year somebody tried to drive a 12-foot truck under the 10-foot bridge. Sounds like the truck eating bridge for in the Quad Cities. There's a bridge in, I think, Davenport. Very similar, and semis try to go under it, and it's like, I mean, it's been called the truck eating bridge, I think, in Davenport, as long as I can remember, going back 30 years, more than 30 years, 35 years from my first memories. And yet semis, like, it's like once a month. Word doesn't get around, I guess. I don't know. I'm not familiar with or near the stadium. I'm not familiar with that bridge. Dan, good morning. Good evening to you. Kyle's in the house. Definitely looks different behind you. Yeah. All my eBay store inventory is piled back in that corner. This shelf, and I had to do that because they're moving this shelf out of the way or to the new house. I've got another metal unit back over there. That's going. And then my eBay stuff I'll move on my own because my buddy's coming over tonight to connect the internet. So I'm going to do some shipping. Once they get the hell out of here, then I can get some shipping done. Let's see. Chris Illich says the rebuild was over prior to last year. He's a knothead. I have a friend that's a big Tigers fan, and it's like, man, I feel bad. Like Javi Baez, man. David, good morning. Grinding for good. Happy Monday. Good morning. Flawed Thinker really wanted Max Clark to the Nationals. Is eBay standard envelope still at 60 cents? Mine, so it went up yesterday, 63 cents. So it did go up yesterday. I talked about this yesterday. So my eBay screen was reading 60 cents, but the label actually said 63 cents. And I don't know. I haven't checked to see if it was actually charged, see if it was 60 cents or 63 charged to my account. Let's go into, I have over 200 items to ship. I'm like, fuck. Okay. Come on. All right. Let's see. We want to go to funds activity. Postage. Hasn't taken anything out for postage yet. Which is weird. It was like every day, but maybe it's just maybe it's every day when they're scanned. I don't know. Oh, wait, July 9th. Oh, it was only charging me 60 cents. So my shipping labels from yesterday, I have been charged, even though they were reading 63 cents on the label. eBay only charged me 60 cents. I like it. So my guess is if it says 60 cents on your eBay screen, it's still going to only charge you 60 cents, but the label prints out as 63. We'll see what later today, what mine come out to. Brian's going to print labels. eBay still shows 60 cents. There you go. Chris says I was at 9% before switching. Now it's almost 12%. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I saw an immediately increase in traffic, not necessarily sales, but certainly traffic. Joe Caprino, is there any you don't have a guy for? Is there anyone I don't have a guy for? No. When you're incapable of manual labor like I am, and by incapable, I mean choose not to. You get a guy for everything. And sometimes, ideally, you find friends. Like for the internet, my buddy Mark's coming over, and it's just the beer tax. Like, hey, I've got beer for you. That's one thing I learned in business school. Like, I did really well in school because I knew the right people. I took a graphic design course, and my buddy was like one of the top graphic designers at the university. So I'm like, hey, he like basically did my homework. We had to do I think it's still on YouTube. I should get that on my channel because I think it's on my old channel. A video resume, and one of my buddies was like the video director for the athletics department. So he's like, okay, he like produced it all, directed it all, filmed it all, spliced it all together, and then I turned it in and got an A. So you just got to know people. So that's what it's all about. So yeah, I still mow my own lawn. One of the contractors is like, I don't know. We were talking about the lawn, and one of the guys goes, "You're gonna mow this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Who do you think I am? Do you think I would hire somebody to mow my lawn? And he's like, "Oh, I just figured you'd hire it out like everything else." Well, you got me there. Let's see. Dan says for sale, 2022 Stadium Club, Mark Burley Auto. There you go. Bing Scott, what's up? Johnny Boy Cards in the house. Happy Monday. Kyle says, I was entering card buys from last week in Excel. I see eBay broke my 7-card Jim Dwyer buy from you into 2 transactions. Interesting. Did I ship that already? I don't remember shipping a Jim Dwyer transaction. So my apologies for my slowness. It's a real pain in the ass today. My July is going to be awful on eBay. I've missed, let's see, let's go back to July 1st. Okay. I beat my goal on July 1st. It was a good day. Missed. So that's 2 out of 3. 2 out of 4, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 6, 5 out of 7, 6 out of 8, 7 out of 9. I have missed my daily sales goal 7 out of 9 days in July. Now, that doesn't mean that sales are down. It means that I'm not really putting forth much effort into my eBay store over the last 10 days. Haven't really listed anything in my eBay store. So that's going to be a problem when it comes to sales. But my wife last night was like, why don't you just put it on like vacation mode? And I'm like, I can't. I need some revenue coming in, even though if it's less, I need something. I need to pay for that 86-inch TV. Come on. Dan says, haven't watched this yet. Carl, good morning. PSA is doing a second $15 special on 80s cards. They're going to keep on launching these specials, do you think? Probably. I don't have much thoughts on grading, but I think they probably will. Bo Thompson, the Chase episode 151. What is that? Oh, was that the is that the Dave and Adams podcast? That was fun. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think they'll continue running specials on that. Absolutely. 100%. Let's see. Yeah, that was a fun. We did that a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. That was a fun podcast. That was a lot of fun. Bing Scott sold 9 items last night. Minneapolis Kid says, I think there's always some special. Yeah. And I think this is a $15 special on 80s cards, and who knows, could be a modern special. We're seeing that now with SGC, which is super smart. On like brand new release, like Bowman, seeing a lot with Bowman, like $9 special with SGC. So we'll see. I don't have really any interest in it outside of, getting some of my raw stuff. I think I do have a big mail day coming. I bought some stuff off pre-war cards on Twitter. Bought some cool, I think 3 cards from him. I think they're going to be delivered today. Probably sub those with my buddies at 5 Star Cards. Madison Card Show coming up on July 22nd. So we're just 12 days away. Looking for, I think it's going to be big. I know Nashville had their National this past weekend. Heard it was hot. I heard the Minnesota show that was this weekend was happening. I think we're going to see more of that leading into the National. I think that's what I hear so much talk on. Oh, the hobby's dead in July because everybody's getting ready for the national. And it's from what I see personally at shows, it's the exact opposite. People are not saving their money. People are not saving their money for the national. They are gearing up. And I think it's kind of the 80-20 rule where 80% of the money is being spent by 20% of the people. But that small amount of people are accounting for a ton of those sales. And so I think that's why we're seeing, hot shows, especially like the Pelican Case kids. I mean, they're wheeling and dealing all the time. And, you got to spend money to make money, right? Especially in cards. You can't just, if you're just going to if you're saving your money to go to the national to buy cards for your personal collection and you don't flip, you don't sell, that's fine. But so many people are in this to flip and to resell. And those are the ones that are making moves at card shows and trade nights. And so a lot of these, especially now with trade nights, getting all this inventory that they can go flip and build their stuff for the next thing. So I'm excited for the July 22nd Madison Card Show. I saw it was a happening place last year, and the National was in Atlantic City last year. And so even fewer people, I see a comment I'm going to read. Max says, and even less of the 20 of the 80-20 even know about or go to the National. So 2 years ago, when the National was in Rosemont in 2021, I had the Madison Card Show, I think the weekend before, just like I have the last 2 years and will again this year. And I was asking like everybody that came to my table, are you going down to Chicago for the National? And like Max says, most of them were like, I don't know, what's that? Now, remember, I'm also a bargain box seller. So people at bargain boxes, that's typically what they're buying. Up until 2019 was my first national. I didn't even go to card shows really before then. And I still don't have much interest in card shows. And that's coming from a promoter. I love the National, obviously. I love the Madison Card Show, obviously. And then I set up in Rockford and Janesville. And that's good enough for me. I'm not a big card show guy. I love going there if it's been a while, but that like whets my appetite and I have enough cards that I have enough inventory. Now, I always want fresh and I always want to find a deal, but I'm not going to travel across the country, especially with what I buy. I can get what I buy locally. So, but yeah, it's a very small percentage of people. Even Madison Card Show, we're straight shot 2 hours to the Donald Stevens Convention Center. And I bet 10% of the people in attendance in the Madison Card Show will be going to the National. But the 10% are spending a lot of money gearing up for their trade nights and flipping at the National. So my buddy Sean is coming back. I'm excited for that. He sent me a message this weekend. He's like, hey, you got any tables available? Yes, absolutely. So he's from Kansas City, and he set up at a few of my card shows last year, even the year before. And he's got some awesome stuff. So Sean's going to be back. I don't think he's been set up since like October of last year. So he's going to be back the first time in almost a year. I've got a bunch of other first-time dealers. So I'll probably have another, kind of like normal, another like dozen first-time dealers to the Madison Card Show. So let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 first-timers so far signed up. I've got another one that's probably does every 2 months, every 3 months. Let's see. This guy's a second-time dealer. This guy's he has some really good stuff, and he comes about once a quarter. Dilly. Let's see. Steve's coming back. I think it's just his third show. Steve's back. He's got a lot of cool stuff. It's only his second show. Joseph is coming all the way from Springfield, Illinois. He's set up at a couple shows. He's done maybe once a year. He'll come up, probably twice a year. He'll come up from Springfield. Let's see. And those first time. And Sean's back. Jim's back after taking about 6 months off. So a lot of, like always, I love having a nice flow of, semi-regulars coming in. Where are we at? Let's see. Card Fellas listening live this morning on the way to the airport, flying to Orlando for work. Gotta love Orlando in July. I bet it's warm. I bet it's not warm. I bet it's hot in Orlando in July. Safe travels. Mike Summer, what's up? Had the perfect Sport Lot sale last night. 181 Garbage Pail Kids for $75. All from the same box, so it took about 15 minutes to pull, pack, and ship. Oh my God. Those are heavenly. Those sales. And I love when I like on eBay, when I'll list, when I was listing like all the 80s rookies, and I still have a batch that I got to list. I'll list them all in one batch. So like 100 cards. So it's in tab 1AK. And I'll have somebody buy like 20 of them. And they're all from the same tab. So I just, boom, 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 boom. And it's, 50, 70, 80, 90, $100 sale. Boom. Takes me a minute and a half to pull it and ship it. Bing Scott says it's 663 listings, just doing $250 a month. Bargain Boxers counting down 16 days. Let's see. We said that. Flawed Thinker says, I watched an Ohtani Bowman Chrome rookie PSA 10 sell for $3K last night. Two guys got into a bidding war and let their egos show. The payment did go through. Nice. Mark McGlynn, good morning from Spain. Wow. So it's got to be afternoon in Spain. Damn hot here on the island of Mallorca. Wishing you mucho suerte with your move. Thank you. I don't know what that means. I think much, what's suerte? Much suerte. Mallorca in July. I bet it's hot. Max says, and that show was awesome. Disappointed I can't make this one. Tiger727, I consider myself a collector, but over the last few months, I have sent cards to ComC. My goal is to get enough money for a K-Line rookie. Is it K-Line or K-Line? Is it alkaline like a battery, or is it K-Line? Now working in my favor as of yet. Bargain Boxer loves card shows, my bread and butter. Good morning, TD Sports Cards. Tony, the T206 kid in the house. Thank you, Max. So that's about all I had for today. Long A. So it is K-Line. I've heard it both ways, and I feel like mucho suerte equals good luck. Thank you. I did not take a single Spanish class in high school. It was not required. I think it is now, and it might have been required shortly after I graduated. But in high school, Spanish was not a foreign language, was not a requirement at my school. Ain't a one. So I did not take any Spanish. But I know how to count to 10. Cody, what's up? Good morning. Sending my first PSA and SGC subs. Fingers crossed for some good grades. Good luck with that. Love it. I have a headache. So, I'm going to get going. So, 7:30, I imagine the movers are going to be showing up here in the next 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to get going. Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, I'm not here in this room tomorrow morning. Fingers crossed. So hopefully we'll be in the new space. And hopefully it's somewhat set up to my liking. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. My eBay store link is in the description, but I kind of don't want you to click on it and shop because I'm way behind. But it's there if you need it. Mike says, I feel lucky that I'm one of the few who got to sit in that very chair. Yeah, Mike Summer. Yeah, this very chair. and it's going to make the move with me. In this very room, you got to see Frank. It's like we've got a lot of turnover in this neighborhood this year. Like the neighbors across the street moved. There's a house like 3 doors down on the other side. They sold their house. Behind me, the yard that's at the back of my yard, new people are in there. Next door on the other side, not Frank was thinking about Frank's going to stay. But on this side, actually, you can't see, it's too bright, but the house next to that window, they're moving. So changing of the guard in our neighborhood. So with that, I'm out. Have a good one. We will see you tomorrow morning, hopefully from the new house. Like, subscribe. See you tomorrow.